makeup. So, we have my lovely model. So when I have a client, I really love to get to know them. You know, you're kind of a makeup artist slash psychologist, best friend. You know, you want to make the experience enjoyable, but you have to get to know the basics about your client. So when I do bridal makeup, I ask my clients, so, you know, tell me about your skin. What's your skin type like? Combination. She says she's oily on the top, dry on the side. Knowing that, I'm thinking, moisturize. Always moisturize. I'm thinking she needs a little bit of primer in the center. What if you didn't ask your client that and you just start putting on some makeup? 10 minutes later, the oil is breaking through because you didn't prime her correctly. You have to ask your client these questions. Then I like to ask her, is it a daytime ceremony? Is it a nighttime ceremony? Start around 12. Okay, daytime. So daytime, daylight, you can't get away with as much things. You have to make sure to blend it out. You have to really work at it. Because sometimes at night, you can get away with a few more things. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just start. So every bride needs moisturizer, okay, no matter what their skin type is. I've already primed her with Oxygen Moisturizer from Glamour, and it's sold out. It's sold out. It was that popular. So now that she's done with that, I'm going to use the HD Primer. Who here has heard of Nurturing Force? Right? It's a great primer, right? Not only for just traditional makeup, but for airbrush makeup. So this is great not only for brides, but for grooms. Because they sweat too, they get shiny, they need a little help, but sometimes guys don't want to wear makeup. You can put a little primer on them and they'll look great in pictures because they won't be shiny either. So we're going to go ahead and get them out. Now as a makeup artist, guys, you really want to be sanitary. You know, you want to keep your kit clean. You want to make sure that you're using the right preparation and tools. So I'm taking my little spatula knife, getting a little bit out. That's more than enough. And I'm going to get my little steel palette, which is somewhere around all of these palettes. Okay, you guys use these kind of tools? I would say this is a requirement as a makeup artist. Sometimes people use the back of their hands, but this is the cleanest and safest way to keep your kit sanitary, and it just wipes off clean. I like steel because it doesn't break, you can just wipe it clean, and it's just really good. So let's go ahead and start applying her. And now it's white on here, but it blends right into her skin. So I'm putting it mainly in her T-zone with a standard synthetic foundation brush. If you want, you can put it all over. I do a little bit on the cheeks. What I'm going to do today is actually just do one side of her face so you can see the difference. And then we can come to the booth later and we can play makeup. You can see me finish her. If you want, I'll put makeup on you. You can put makeup on me. We'll just play with makeup, okay? Is that okay, guys? Okay, good. So we have her primed and moisturized. What I like to do first is I like to prep the face. And I like to conceal and prep. Some makeup artists do foundation first, some do concealer first. Really, it's a matter of preference. I've noticed over time. Do what works for you. But I'm going to go ahead and correct. So tell me about what on your face that you kind of want to work at. Dark under eye circles. Okay. So what are we going to put under there to help fix that? Correct. Okay. So we're going to do that. I'm going to take my nifty little scooper tool, and you need it there. Like I told you guys, this is going to last a long time. As a makeup artist too, you'll notice that if you use too much product, it doesn't look right. So you have to learn to use the right amount with the right touch. So we're going to take a little bit. See that? Just a little. That's all you need. And that's the good thing about professional cosmetics for makeup artists is that they make it pigmented, so that way you can get your bang for your buck, right? So we're going to put a little bit on the palette. Okay. You know what I like to use with concealer? You guys probably know about this. I love to use these blendy brushes. Does anybody else do that? Isn't it amazing? You guys have to try this. Use like a crease brush. Like, you know, every brand has them. And then buff in your concealer and corrector. It's like it just disappears. You don't have to worry about blending out the edges because it automatically just disappears. So I'm going to take a little bit on my palette, tap, 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 tap off the excess, okay? And I'm going to go right under her eyes. So I'm going to pat it first so that I can get the coverage that I want. Can you guys see it disappearing? People get scared sometimes. Their clients might get scared. They're like, whoa, why are you putting orange on me? And you're like, trust me, you know, this is what I do. And you're gonna say, on the color spectrum, the orange cancels out blue and it's just gonna disappear. So that's what you guys are gonna say next time they freak out, right? So we're gonna tap, tap, tap for coverage. And then you can just blend it out. Okay? You guys start to see it disappearing? And like I said, if you get that orange tone still, orange is better than blue because you can cover up orange a little bit easier. I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow, or you could take a foundation too. And we're going to scoop it out. Just a little bit like that. And you can put it right on top. And it's going to cancel it out and you're going to get a really nice highlighted look. Someone in the crowd was asking about concealing or about what did they say? Contouring, right? Somebody was asking about contouring. So contouring goes hand in hand with highlighting. If you can do it with creams first, it just looks like you're lit from within. It looks really natural. So this is a part of that, and you can use the yellow, and you form this triangle shape right here. Do you guys see that? That's how you get that Kim Kardashian, okay? So then you just fill it in, and then when you place your foundation around it, it will all seamlessly blend in, and it will look natural. It won't look garish and overdone. You guys see the difference? Guys, I think you guys see it in the back. Can you see it? In the back? Okay, good. Okay. So, you know what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spot treat any little discolorations or marks, and I use the warm Super Cream palette the most. And it always sells out because I tell people to get it. But this is what I use most of the time because it has yellow undertones and it works on most skin tones that I find. So I'm just going to hold this up to her and I'm thinking she's somewhere around this middle shade of here. And this is, you know, as a makeup artist, you're a mixologist. You're not just going to use one shade. You're going to pick a little here, a little there, and you're going to custom match every single client that you have because that's your job. Nobody wants to feel like they have one shade face. They could have gone to the drugstore and picked up some foundation and done the same thing, right? So you're a mixologist and a makeup artist. So I'm going to take my little scooper again, and unfortunately I'm going to break into this brand new beautiful palette. But I do what you got here, right? So I'm going to take just a little bit, and I'm like thinking, I'm going to take a little of this and a little bit of that. Do you see it's like barely a dent? You don't need a lot, guys. I mean, like I said, if you use too much, you'll notice that it doesn't look right. Now, what I'm doing is I'm spot treating because later on I don't have to put on as much foundation. A lot of brides are scared of that cakey face. They want to look done, but they still want to look like themselves. Sometimes you'll run into those brides who don't wear makeup at all. Yikes. Does anyone ever run into that? They freak out. Don't they? They're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to look like a drag queen. Oh my god, it's like, well, I love drag queens, but I will make you look like one too. So, what you can do is, the trick about getting natural makeup for brides is making their skin look awesome. That's how you get them. You don't have to put on lots of product, but if you put on the right amount of the product in the right way, that's how you'll get it. So I'm going to put a little bit on my palette. Okay? A lot of times with women of color too, you'll notice that they're a little bit lighter in the center and darker on the outside. So sometimes I'll just use 2 shades of foundation. So I'm thinking this could be her perimeter color around the outside, and I'm going to grab a little bit of lighter to the center. And that way I'm getting a realistic 2-dimensional look. That's another way of contouring, is getting the highlighted center and getting a little bit of more of a contour, a darker color, right? And I'm using my foundation. So this is a foundation, a concealer, and a contour color. So I'm going to go back to my nifty little eyeshadow brush. She told me she has some marks on her face. I don't really see them, but I'm just going to cover them around her. So you said you had laser hair removal. So sometimes you'll get those little dark marks, so it will fade over time, but all you like I said, these things just buff it out. Okay, I'm going to just cover her moles just so that way you guys can see. So just have it. And like I said, it does all the work. I don't think you guys can see in the back. Could you see up front? Did you see how just her mole just disappeared? This is so pigmented that all you do is you tap, 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 and it just erases. You guys see it up here? Do you guys see it back there? You do? Okay, good. Okay, so like I said, then you can take her darker color around the perimeter and do the same thing. Sometimes people will say, you know, just match the jaw, right? You hear everybody say that, match the jaw. But the jaw is not the same as the center of the face. So these are, you have to learn to see what works for you. And a lot of times too, match the chest, right? That's a very accurate, because a lot of times, like I know my face is a lot lighter than my body. It might be because I self-tan a lot, but you know, I still have to match it correctly. So always match it to the chest. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep on spot treating. And it does all the work for me. Quick, 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 right? You guys see it disappearing? I'm going to go on this side a little bit more so you guys over here can see. And we're just going to quick, 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 quick. And it's just all disappearing. And it's crazy because sometimes when you do the concealer, they don't even look like they need foundation, right? But you're going to want to still do it so that you get an all over even look. Do you see how her skin's just kind of disappearing and just looking more natural and just she's born with it kind of look? Okay, so I'm just going to move on straight to, okay, I got to get this out for you guys. Because it's too pretty not to see all the way in the back. Okay, who here does airbrush? Okay, who wants to do airbrush? Okay, brides these days want airbrush. Let's just keep it real. They know about airbrush. How many gigs are you going to turn down because you don't airbrush? You know what I mean? You want to increase your range in your portfolio of skills as a makeup artist because airbrush means you can charge extra. Okay? Airbrush is just great. I love airbrush for doing the face and the body. You know, as a bride, you have that glamorous dress on and, you know, all of a sudden you're like, dang, that tattoo. You know what I mean? You might love it, but you don't always want it to show up in your pictures. Have any of you guys tried airbrushing a tattoo to cover it up? Who here's done that? You have? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. You know, you try to sometimes cover up a tattoo by putting layer after layer after layer. It's time consuming, you're wiping off the coverage. Okay, so picture a wall, right? And let's say it's a white wall and there's like some black marks on it. And you're like, you try to paint over it, but you still see it, right? You keep covering it with a paintbrush. Imagine you have like a paint, what's it called? The graffiti thing? Spray paint! Okay, so imagine you take spray paint and you keep pressing. It's just going to cover it automatically, right? You're not touching the skin and removing the product. So again, charge extra for tattoo coverage. And they have specific, they have specific airbrush for the body and for the face. So don't get it confused because you want more of an alcohol-based airbrush makeup for the body. That way when they're slipping on their dress, it doesn't come off. What's worse than having like brown makeup stains on a white wedding dress? Okay, so if you want, we can talk about that more at the booth. But let's go ahead and airbrush her. So I'm going to put this down because it's brand new. And actually, it's the very last one because we sold out of them. And if you guys, this is the last one if you want to buy that. They come in glossy pink and glossy black, which is brand new. And glossy means that you can wipe it clean easier. Because you always want to keep your kit clean and professional looking and sanitary. So I'm going to go to the regular model right here. So this is the Brasilian walk around system. Does anybody have this? No? You guys, you do? Okay, so you guys have to come and play with it. The reason why I love this is because it's completely mobile. Sometimes when you're doing makeup in a hotel, you might be doing it at the church, you don't always have a plug nearby. Then what are you going to do? Like, plan B, I'm just going to do regular foundation. No, they want airbrush and they paid for airbrush. This has a battery pack attached, so I can do makeup over here. I And you may go over here, around here, and I don't need a plug, so it's great. Sometimes with other brands, you have to pay extra for the pack, which is just annoying, but everything comes all together. If you buy the introductory pack, you get this, you get these 5-pan palettes, you get 3 of the 5-pan palettes, you get the matching airbrush, airbrush foundation to match. So another thing is that, you know, you prep the skin with the Glamour Cream foundation, right, and the corrector. There is a shade of airbrush for every single 64 shades of cream foundation. So you're never going to go wrong with matching. On top of that, there is a shade of powder for every 64 shades of cream foundation and airbrush. I mean, it's just a good thing. I mean, who else does that? It's just smart. So I'm going to go ahead and airbrush her.